Welcome back to Morning Extra. My name is Tom Mwema. Keep tweeting hashtag we are using today's GBS Morning Extra. And of course, you can keep the conversation going and ask any question that you have. Remember, we have our guest artist that is coming up next after this newspaper review. And also, you can send your request. Remember, we're also live on YouTube. Just go and search GBS TV Kenya and then subscribe to our channel. And of course, follow and also live chat with us. We'll be viewing some of your text in a moment. But now we go to the newspapers review. We start with the Standard. Jubilee crisis MPs list 8 demands. Jubilee MPs allied to William Ruto list grievances, fully division in party, and warned meeting to discuss 2022 succession plan and handshake, among others. Remember, Jubilee Party has been facing a lot of challenges recently, more so after the handshake that came in last year. And Kevin, we have seen the Jubilee Party has been a lot of tribulation, and of course, the way we have covered in our news, there are some MPs calling for a parliamentary group meeting. Do you think it's time now for Jubilee to address their issues?
I think so. If you consider what they are saying that in the constitution of their party, it's a must that they held or they have two parliamentary meetings in 1 year. Since 2017, they are saying that they haven't been contacted for the parliamentary meeting, and I think what they are reading much from the handshake, and the silence of the president seems that there's something going on. The president told them in 2018 that it's time for development. 2022 will come and we will talk. But you have to understand that the president will make a feast to Eldoret today.
Yeah.
And most MPs are saying that 2022, the president has to come out clear to steady his stand for deputy president.
But so far, the president has not denounced his promise to support his deputy. It's only that his lieutenants are just speculating issues.
It seems that the members of parliament from the Ruto side are doubting the president will support the deputy president, the deputy president 2022. But in politics, there's no friends and there's no promises. They have to work.
Okay. Yeah. So they must make sure that they must press the president to confirm that he will support him.
Yeah, and that's what they are doing at the moment.
Okay. And another story also on the Standard. Private sector pledges 100 billion to create employment for youths. We have had a lot of problem. Actually, it's a crisis right now. Majority of the youths are unemployed.
True.
And now the private sector has promised to inject 100 billion into the economy to help the unemployed youth. Do you think this is a great move?
Of course, it's all about the strategy they have and the implementation of that strategy. At the end of the day, the government promised a million jobs for the youth, and you have to understand that majority of the Kenyan population is made up of youth. It's all about how they will implement the strategy they have to implement that.
Okay. And also, there's also a crisis in the education sector, where the education CS, that Professor Magoha, tells universities they should reform or face the law. And the law means that some of the campuses will be shut down if they don't have finances to fund them. Do you think now it's time to crack down because universities have been opening campuses all over and they are unable to fund them?
I think so. If you listened well, the Cabinet Secretary for Finance, Henry Rotich, said that he will scrap some funds to the universities. Last year, I think there were some universities who complained that they have a debt of 100 billion, and I think it's all about unemployment in the country. There are some courses which are being offered in some of the universities which don't help the Kenyan youth, and I think it's a good move from the Cabinet Secretary for Education, CS Magoha.
Okay, and now to entertainment, because today we are talking more about entertainment. The Pulse today is talking about the brains behind the great songs that Kenyan listen to. You know, in the music industry, people just know the artist, but unfortunately, they don't tell about more about who wrote the songs. And there are writers who are known, by the way, and they have written great songs. And of course, the Pulse is trying to give them an airtime and of course to be known to the public. Do you think this is a great move towards improving the music industry?
It will improve the music industry, and you have to understand that the president promised that he will open recording studios in every county. Yeah. And I think they are doing something good. It will help the upcoming artists to be known to the public.
Okay, they also featured some of the mightiest artists here who have written great songs. There is the Moji Short Baba, there's Sanaipei Tande, there's Boss Moj, MOG, there's Riga, there's Brian Nandra. Some of the great songwriters, and of course some are artists, but sometimes they decide to write for others to sing. Okay, let's now shift to AFCON. It's kicking off today. All said for Harambee Stars. Kahata seeks to dribble into AFCON fame. That's according to Standard. Gor Mahia midfielder Francis Kahata says the club's success at the continental level has prepared him well for African Cup of Nations that kicks off tonight in Egypt.
You have to understand that Harambee Stars conceded only one goal in the qualifiers to AFCON 2019. Our expectations as a sports fraternity, we have to expect that the team will go the way they were too defensive, and we have to understand that the possibility of third place to qualify for a record, all a history of around 16, and we have to understand there's a curse of champions. We are asking, can Cameroon crash the Champions League, African AFCON champions crash? Curse, you have to understand that 2017 Ivory Coast, who were the winner of 2015, they were eliminated in the group stage. In Nigeria, who won 2013, they did not qualify for 2015. Egypt, who won 2012, they did not qualify for 2013. Okay. Now, the main question is, can Cameroon crash the champion curse?
And what about our team Harambee Stars?
I think the preparation Minya made is one of the fantastic, and the squad. They were paid 750,000 each. I think yesterday the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga paid a courtesy call to the team. I think it will surprise many teams in the continent.
And of course, you can take advantage of Algeria. They have a bad history when it comes to starting competition. They don't win their first matches.
Yeah, true.
So we can capitalize on that.
Yeah.
Okay, now to the Daily Nation. The battle to save broke universities, as you had mentioned earlier, Education Minister Professor George Magoha has embarked on a mission to shut down or merge several campuses to ensure that the universities have enough funds to run and also to sustain themselves. And then also they have also given a priority to Stars go for glory in Egypt. Harambee Stars also has been given enough coverage. Do you think the media has given enough coverage for Harambee Stars this time?
Yeah, true. If you have to go through the daily magazines and newspapers, you have to understand every focus is on Harambee Stars. Okay. And I think every broadcast is all about Harambee Stars. I think there is enough and there is more on the way coming. Okay.
Or is it too much for them? Are they capable of handling that pressure from the press?
Of course they are. If you have to understand that after first game of qualifiers, Harambee Stars lost to Sierra Leone. Everybody was talking about Minye. But at the end of the day, they stood and then they made to qualify for Africa Cup of Nations. I think they can.
Okay. Edao school, still in the education matter, School of Law failures raised concern as Attorney General summoned over the trend. And MPs yesterday called for investigations into the mass examination failure at the Kenya School of Law. I wish we had a lawyer here to discuss this. But this is the second time there has been mass failure from the Kenya School of Law.
Yeah, they said that 20% are the only people who made the cutoff. Yeah. That's very dangerous because we depend from that sector as a country.
Okay. Yeah. And do you think maybe the examination is a bit unfair, or is our university channeling out half-baked students?
When the members of parliament are saying that they have to investigate that, it seems that there's something
there's something they are hiding from us. Yeah. And of course, all set for Uasin Gishu, Uhuru visited Uasin Gishu. The President critics now say revival of Rivertex is one of the benefits of voting Jubilee in power. Preparation to relaunch the private textile factory in Eldoret to be presided over by the President Uhuru Kenyatta today, in top gear for implementing his top 4 agenda. And of course, there's also a lot of politics in this, especially now that the Jubilee, there's rift in the Jubilee party. Well, the Uhuru, it's all clear, although they have denied it, but it's all clear that all is not rosy in Jubilee government.
Yeah, they were saying yesterday that they want to limit the guests, all the speakers who will gonna speak at the event to 3 or 4. That's the governor, the Senate of the Uasin Gishu, deputy president and president, such that to avoid the 2022 politics.
Okay, and now to CBK. The demonetization debate still continues. CBK governor, that is Patrick Njoroge, says those that noted to a own risk there will be no extension for the exchange of 1,000 notes, which is this 1st October? This
Yeah,
1st October,
yeah,
the deadline. Kenyans still holding on to the hold 1,000 shillings banknotes will not be given extension to the October deadline. So it seems that the government and CBK are serious on this, and there will be no extension. But you know, Kenyans, we are the last minute people.
Yeah, we just like the deadline, the last day.
Okay.
Yep.
And there's also a lot of referendum is on the way out of current funds impasse, according to COG chairman, Wycliffe Oparanya, also serves as a Kakamega governor. The Council of Governors has joined the push for referendum, saying it would address concerns about the formula of dividing shareable revenue. And we have seen that recently in the budget, the county government's budget has been slashed.
Yeah, of course.
And it seems that the COG now hope is on the referendum.
Yeah, it depends. They can have hopes on the referendum, but at the end of the day, the referendum can fail or can pass. Okay. And I think the parliamentary group said that the 15%,
Okay.
they have to increase to 45% of the national revenue, so that the county can get 45 or more of the revenue. And they are saying that the percentage they are using to calculate is over 2015 financial year. The governor of Kakamega, that's the chairman of governors, Council of Governors, Wycliffe Oparanya, said that they have to review that. And the only way is through the referendum.
Do you think their matters will be factored in?
Of course, many. Most people are saying that we are being overrepresented as a country. The issue of wage bill, at the same time, the issue of unemployment to the youth. How can we create employment for the youth through the referendum? And then politics. Others are saying that we have.
The fact is, still, if we slash the positions,
yes,
there still are people going to be jobless, especially in the county levels.
But at the end of the day, they have made something. They can go and invest in private sectors. What about that youth who wake up, he doesn't have even 5 bob in the pocket at the end of the day?
Okay, now let's look at what the Star has this morning. The Star talks about the CS plot to lock out Ruto from Central. Separate team planning to remove allies from House Committee leadership also has been covered in page 4 and 5. This rift in Jubilee, except now it has entered into the executive. It seems that some CSs are not comfortable working with the deputy president.
Yeah, they are saying that they have to remove some of the allies of the deputy president, such that to implement and to make sure that the president's legacy is being implemented, the reta. And you have to understand that there's Team Tanga Tanga is opposing the handshake, and Team Kereweke, they are for the president. So it seems that there's something going on.
They just alleged to be for the president, but we really don't know. And another story here, let's talk about the sports now. Has been given prominence also. Football FIFA to also undertake a forensic audit at CAF, and the battle for CAF as FIFA plans to take over the African Cup of Nations preparation and also hosting. And Kevin, is this a right move when FIFA wants now to be in charge of CAF?
I think so. Simply because there is some allegations for the CAF president of corruption scandals, sexual harassment, and then I think they're gonna take CAF as from August this year, after the Africa Cup of Nations finals. Then they will take. I think they will take over. I think it's a good move.
Okay, and of course, Harambee Stars also given prominence also. Be aware of Stars, Wanyama Tales rivals. And still the debate is also, as you saw, heated Egypt.
Yeah.
Harambee Stars are now saying we are ready, and we are not just underdogs, as you are putting us. And let's look at what in Embu now, and what MCAs want Senator Kivuti to succeed Wambura. The Wambura, these were Embu governor has 7 lives. He survived impeachment more than I don't know how many times, around 3 times. It seems like he's there. He's not going anywhere anytime soon, and he's really survived. And Njoroge defends weak shilling. All money being exchanged is following legal channels. No mass dumping reported. CBK Governor Patrick Njoroge has defended the weaknesses of the shilling, saying the current sway could have been caused by normal high demand for dollars by importers. Kevin, I think that's all we have for the newspapers this morning.
Yeah.
And of course, I don't know what you make of it before we...
It seems that the main focus of the three papers is on AFCON. If you have to understand that the front page of the Star, they have an image of Raila Odinga when he made a visit to the camp, and then if you come the Daily Nation, they have an insight of Africa Cup of Nations.
The
Same, same as the Standard. I think it's something that Kenyans have to look forward for the Africa Cup of Nations as it kicks off today with Egypt versus Zimbabwe.
And what's your prediction of that match before you take a break?
I think Egypt versus Zimbabwe, head on head. Egypt has made for them with the Zimbabwe. I think Egypt is gonna win.
Okay.
The pressure from the home fans, and then last year, last competition they made to the final against Cameroon, they lost. I think Mohamed Salah scoring Champions League goal against Tottenham Hotspur, coming as a top scorer from English Premier League side, is on form. I think Egypt is gonna score more than 5 goals. Of more than 2 goals. That's 3 goals or 4 goals.
Okay,
but they're gonna win.
Discuss that in the Sports Extra.
Yeah.
Okay, and now we are taking a breather. When we come back, we welcoming our artists here. So don't go too far. Keep tweeting #GBS Morning Extra. Don't go too far.